The long night on the alien world was finally over. As the first light of morning spread across the sky, the human camp came alive again. The survivors were tired, but their hearts were filled with hope. They had faced fear, storms, and hunger. Yet they were still standing. That was the spirit of humans never giving up, no matter how hard life became. Captain Elias walked slowly through the camp, watching the people. Some were repairing broken tools. Some were cooking the little food they had left, and others were checking the damaged shelters. Everyone was working. Nobody waited for miracles. Elias smiled proudly. He knew now that these survivors were not weak. They were strong because they stood together. Nearby, the young alien woman with rich teal blue skin was helping as well. She moved with quiet grace, her hands careful as she showed the humans how to use strange plants for medicine. The people respected her. She had saved lives with her knowledge. Many still looked at her with curiosity, but no one feared her anymore. She had a soft natural beauty that reminded the humans of calm seas and peaceful skies. But more than her beauty, it was her kindness that touched them. She never asked for anything in return. She only wanted peace between her people and the newcomers. Elias often found himself watching her as she worked. He wondered what she truly thought of humans. Did she see them as invaders or as friends who had lost their way in the stars? He could not yet tell. That morning, a small group prepared to explore deeper into the alien land. Food was running low, and they needed to find new sources to survive. Elias led the team, and the alien woman insisted on joining. The forest is not safe, she told them in her soft voice. I will guide you. Alone, you will not return. Her words carried weight, and Elias agreed. The group entered the thick forest where tall trees stood like ancient guardians. Strange cries echoed from unseen creatures. The air smelled of flowers but also of danger. The humans walked carefully, holding their tools like weapons, though none of them wanted to fight. As they moved deeper, the alien woman stopped suddenly. She touched the ground and closed her eyes. Something is wrong, she whispered. Elias asked her what she meant, but before she could answer, a shadow moved among the trees. Out of the darkness came figures tall, armored, and carrying sharp weapons. They were not friendly. Elias realized at once that these were not her people. They were another alien race, one that lived in secret in these forests. Their faces were hidden, but their actions spoke clearly. They surrounded the group, cutting off escape. Elias raised his hands, showing peace. We do not want trouble, he said firmly. We only want to live. The strangers did not understand his words, but they understood movement, and when one of them pointed a weapon at the alien woman, Elias felt anger rise inside him. He stepped forward, putting himself between her and the danger. The tension grew heavy. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the alien woman stepped beside Elias. She spoke in her own language, her voice calm but strong. The strangers paused. Her words carried meaning, though the humans could not understand them. Finally, the strangers lowered their weapons slightly. They did not attack, but they did not leave either. It was a fragile balance. Elias looked around at his people. Fear was on their faces, but also courage. He realized then what made humans different from so many others. They were ready to fight for each other, even for someone not of their own kind. The alien woman spoke again, longer this time. Slowly, the strangers stepped back into the shadows. Within minutes, they were gone, leaving only silence behind. The humans released their breath in relief. Elias turned to the alien woman. You saved us, he said quietly. She shook her head. No, you saved me. They saw how you stood in front of me. They saw your courage. That is why they chose not to fight. Her words surprised Elias. For the first time, he understood that trust was growing between them. Not just survival, but trust. The group continued their journey, and with her guidance, they found a valley filled with fruit trees and fresh water. It was like a hidden gift from the world itself. They gathered food and drank deeply, their hearts lighter than before. That evening, as the sun set, Elias sat with the alien woman by the fire. Round them, humans laughed and shared the food they had found. For a moment, The hardships of the past seemed far away. You could have left us. Elias said softly, "Why do you stay with us?" The alien woman looked at the flames, her teal-blue skin glowing gently in the firelight. "Because I see something in humans." She replied, "You are fragile, yet you fight against despair. You fall, but you rise again. My people call this spirit dangerous. I call it beautiful." Elias was silent for a long moment. Then he smiled. "Maybe one day your people will see it too." She nodded, but her eyes were sad. That day will not be easy. There will be trials. There will be choices. The fire crackled between them, and though neither spoke further, both knew the truth. Their journey was only beginning. Far beyond the valley, unseen eyes watched their camp. The forest strangers were not the only ones interested in the humans. Other forces were moving, preparing for what was to come. But for now, hope burned like the firelight, strong and steady. Humans had survived another day, and that was enough to keep walking forward. The sky above Zelara was a swirl of colors no human had ever seen before. Giant, glowing moons floated lazily in the violet sky. Strange plants with tall, thin stems and bright blue leaves swayed gently in a warm breeze. This was no ordinary planet. Zelara was a world ruled by powerful alien clans, each known for strength, skill, and honor. Today was an important day for the entire Zelaran Empire. The alien queen was going to choose the champion who would lead the clans into a great battle against a mysterious enemy threatening their world. Warriors from many planets had come to prove themselves, hoping to win the queen's favor and lead the armies. Among the crowd gathered at the grand arena, there was a strange figure that stood out. He was smaller than most of the aliens, wearing simple clothes and carrying nothing but a small pack and a calm look on his face. His name was Tom. He was a human, the first human ever to visit Zelara. The alien spectators watched Tom curiously. Many whispered among themselves, "Who is this weak-looking human? He does not carry weapons like the others." Others laughed quietly, sure that this human could never win the challenges ahead. But Tom did not seem afraid. Tom's ship had landed just outside the city a few hours ago. The Zelaran guards were surprised but allowed him to enter because the alien queen had sent a special invitation. They had heard stories of human bravery, but seeing a real human was different. The arena was huge, a perfect circle surrounded by tall stone walls covered in shining crystals. The ground was made of polished black rock that reflected the light of the moons above. At the center stood the alien queen's throne, a large seat made from living vines and glowing stones. Tom took a deep breath. He was far from home, on a strange planet, surrounded by beings with strange shapes and powers. Some had 4 arms, others had wings or glowing eyes. But Tom reminded himself why he was here. He had come to prove that humans were more than just fragile creatures. He wanted to show that courage, kindness, and cleverness could be stronger than any weapon. The ceremony began. The alien queen appeared from the shadows, floating down with grace and power. She was tall and elegant, with skin that shimmered like silver and eyes that glowed with wisdom. Her voice was clear and strong. "Welcome, warriors of the galaxy," she said. "Today, we choose the one who will stand against the darkness coming to Zelara. Show us your strength. Show us your heart." One by one, the warriors stepped forward. A giant from the icy world of Frog flexed his muscles and shattered a stone pillar with his bare hands. A swift fighter from the desert planet Zorn raced across the arena, dodging fireballs and leaping over walls. Each display was more impressive than the last. Then it was Tom's turn. He stepped into the arena, holding nothing but his calm smile. The crowd grew silent. Tom looked around, then slowly reached into his pack. He took out a small wooden flute. The aliens looked confused. Was this some kind of trick? Tom closed his eyes and played a soft, simple tune. The music filled the air, calm and clear. At first, nothing happened. Then, the plants around the arena began to move. The blue leaves swayed gently, and vines curled and twisted like they were dancing to the music. The crowd gasped. The alien queen's eyes narrowed with interest. This human was not showing strength with muscles or speed, but with something else. Tom opened his eyes and smiled. Strength is not always about fighting. He said quietly, sometimes it's about understanding the world around you. Suddenly, the arena's ground began to shift. Stones moved to create new shapes and paths. The music seemed to control the very air and earth. Tom walked carefully, his flute guiding the movements of the plants and stones like a dance. Some aliens started to smile. The dessert fighter from Zorn nodded slowly. Maybe this human is different, she whispered. Tom's music stopped. The plants returned to their places, and the stones settled. The silence that followed was full of questions. What could this human do next? Before anyone could guess, a loud roar filled the arena from the shadows. A huge beast appeared, for legs, sharp claws, and eyes glowing red. The crowd gasped and stepped back. The beast was a test, a dangerous creature, designed to challenge the warriors. Tom looked at the beast calmly. He did not run or hide. Instead, he took his flute again and played a slow, gentle melody. The beast stopped roaring. It tilted its head, listening. The music seemed to calm it. With slow steps, the beast moved closer to Tom, who kept playing. The crowd watched in silence. The beast lowered its head and then lay down peacefully. The alien queen stood, clapping slowly. Remarkable, she said. A warrior who can calm a beast without fighting. This is strength beyond muscle and weapon. The crowd cheered, surprised and impressed. Tom had shown something no one expected, the power of peace and understanding. As the ceremony continued, Tom knew this was only the beginning. The challenges ahead would be difficult, but he felt ready. He was not just fighting for himself, but for all humans, to prove they belonged among the stars. When the sun finally set behind the purple mountains, Tom stood near the throne, watching the stars appear. Somewhere out there was a dark threat, coming to Zelara. But for now, the human warrior had made his mark. And the alien queen was watching closely, her eyes filled with new hope. The morning light on Zelara was soft and calm, but the air buzzed with excitement. The grand arena was filled again, this time for the next challenge. Word of the human warrior, Tom, had spread quickly. Some aliens were still unsure about him, while others were quietly curious. Tom stood near the edge of the arena, watching the other warriors prepare. Some had large weapons, shining swords, powerful energy blasters, and strange devices that hummed with power. Tom had only a small pack and his flute, but he felt ready. A tall alien named Rowler, from the stone mountains of Zelara, approached Tom. His skin was rough like rock, and his eyes were sharp and cold. Human, Rowler said, his voice low and serious, you do not belong here. You should leave before you bring shame to yourself and your kind. Tom looked at Rowler calmly. I am here to prove that humans can be strong in many ways, he said. I do not need to carry weapons to be a warrior. Rowler laughed, a deep, harsh sound. We shall see. The announcer's voice echoed through the arena. Next is the test of skill and strength. Each warrior must face the challenge alone and show their power. The first warrior stepped forward, a tall alien from the jungle world of Vesher. She climbed a tall wall covered with sharp vines and reached the top in seconds. Then she leaped across the arena, landing perfectly. The crowd cheered loudly. One by one, the warriors showed their talents. Some were fast, some were strong, and some were clever. But when it was Tom's turn, the crowd quieted. They wondered, what would a human do? Tom stepped into the center. The ground beneath him changed suddenly. A maze of metal walls rose up around him. The maze was tall, twisting, and full of traps. The announcer said, find your way out. Show us your skill. Tom took a deep breath and started moving carefully. He listened to the sounds around him, watched the shadows, and felt the ground. The maze was tricky, but Tom's human senses helped him notice small details others missed. He stopped suddenly when he heard a faint clicking sound. Ahead was a trap, a wall that would close quickly and crush anyone inside. Tom looked around and saw a small hole in the wall's base. He crawled through just in time as the wall slammed shut behind him. The crowd gasped and then clapped quietly. Tom's careful thinking had saved him. As he moved deeper into the maze, he faced more dangers: hidden pits, swinging blades, and puzzles that needed solving. But Tom stayed calm and used his mind more than his muscles. He solved puzzles by watching patterns and used his small size to avoid traps. Finally, Tom reached the center of the maze. There, a heavy metal door blocked his way. The door had no handle, but was covered in strange symbols. Tom knelt and studied the symbols carefully. He remembered stories from Earth about puzzles and codes. Using logic and patience, he pressed the symbols in the right order. Slowly, the door opened. The crowd was silent, watching in awe. Tom walked out of the maze, his face calm but proud. Rowler stepped forward again, but this time his voice was quieter. "You are clever, human. I did not expect this." Tom nodded respectfully. "Cleverness can win battles too." The alien queen watched from her throne. She was smiling slightly. "This human is not like the others," she said softly to her advisors. After the maze challenge, the warriors rested while the queen prepared the next test. Tom found a quiet place and looked at the moons shining in the sky. He thought of his home, Earth, a small blue planet far away. He missed it, but he knew his mission was important. Suddenly, a young alien named Lena approached him. She was from the Farce clan and had gentle green eyes. "You surprised everyone today," she said. "Your mind is sharp, but why do you not fight like the others?" Tom smiled. "Because fighting is not always the answer. I want to show that peace and thought are strong too." Lena nodded slowly. "You may teach us something new." That night, Tom dreamed of his family and friends back on Earth. He felt both nervous and hopeful. He knew more tests awaited him, but he was ready to face them. The next morning, the arena was full again. The alien queen stepped forward and announced, "The next trial will test endurance and heart. Only those who have strength inside will succeed." Tom listened carefully. He was beginning to understand that the challenges were not only about power, but also about spirit. As the sun rose higher, the crowd waited eagerly. Tom stood quietly, ready to face whatever came next, knowing that every step was a chance to show the true strength of humanity. The sun climbed higher in the violet sky of Zelara, casting soft light over the grand arena. The crowd buzzed with excitement and whispers. Today was the trial of the elements, a test that would challenge every warrior's strength, spirit, and skill against the forces of nature itself. The alien queen sat on her throne, her silver skin glowing in the sunlight. Her eyes watched each warrior carefully, searching for those who could stand strong in this difficult challenge. Tom stood quietly, feeling the cool breeze on his skin. He knew this test would be hard, but he remembered the words of his father back on Earth: "Respect the world around you. Nature can be your greatest friend or your fiercest enemy." The announcer's voice rang out clearly. "Warriors, prepare yourselves. You will face the power of fire, water, wind, and earth. Only those who can master all four will prove their worth." The first challenge was fire. A wall of flames roared ahead, blocking the path. The heat was intense, and the air shimmered with heat waves. The warrior from the desert planet, strong and fast, charged forward without fear. Tom stepped forward slowly. He looked around and saw a pile of wet leaves and stones nearby. Using quick thinking, he threw the wet leaves into the flames, creating thick smoke. The smoke covered his movement as he carefully walked around the firewall. The crowd murmured, surprised by his clever idea. Tom did not fight the fire head-on. Instead, he worked with it, using the smoke to his advantage. Next was the water challenge. A wide river blocked the way, with strong currents and sharp rocks below. The warriors jumped and swam quickly, but the water was cold and harsh. Tom stood at the edge and took a deep breath. He noticed the water plants floating nearby. Gathering some, he wove them into a small raft, light but strong enough to carry him. The crowd held their breath as Tom floated safely across the river. His calm mind and patience saved his strength, unlike others who struggled in the fast water. Then came the wind test. The arena opened wide, and a fierce wind blew from all directions. Leaves, dust, and small stones flew through the air like arrows. The warriors fought to keep their balance and move forward. Tom bent low, using his body to block the wind. He found a narrow path behind large rocks where the wind was softer. Step by step, he moved carefully, never rushing but always moving forward. The audience watched quietly, admiring his steady determination. The final test was earth. The ground beneath the warriors began to shake. Huge rocks rose from the earth, blocking the way. The warriors tried to climb or break the stones, but they were heavy, and unmovable. Tom sat down quietly and closed his eyes. He felt the vibrations of the earth through his hands. He remembered stories of ancient humans who listened to the world and learned its secrets slowly. Tom put his hands on the largest stone. He whispered softly, hoping the earth would listen. Suddenly, the stone shifted a little. Tom moved to another stone, and it also moved. The crowd gasped. The alien queen leaned forward, her eyes wide with surprise. Tom was not fighting the earth. He was working with it with gentle pressure. Tom helped the stones move apart, creating a path. The other warriors stared in disbelief. No one had ever moved the earth with such calm power before. When Tom stood and walked through the path, the crowd erupted in cheers. He had passed the trial of the elements, not by fighting, but by understanding and respect. The alien queen stood and clapped. Slowly, "You have shown great heart, human," she said. "Strength is not only muscle or weapon. It is the spirit that connects us to the world." Tom bowed respectfully. He felt tired but proud. He had proven that humans could be strong in ways no one had expected. After the trial, Tom sat with Lena and some other warriors. They talked about the challenges and what they had learned. Lena smiled and said, "You have changed how we see strength, Tom. It is more than power. It is wisdom and kindness." Tom smiled back. "Maybe we all need to remember that, especially when we face hard times." As the sun set behind the mountains, Tom looked at the stars beginning to shine in the sky. He knew the journey was far from over. Dark shadows still threatened Zelara and the galaxy. But now, he was stronger, not just in body but in spirit, and somewhere in the distance, the alien queen watched with hope, knowing this human warrior was becoming the champion her people needed. The evening on Zelara was quiet, but the grand palace was full of light and life. The alien queen sat in her chambers, surrounded by her closest advisors. They talked in low voices about the human warrior, Tom, who had surprised everyone with his strength and spirit. The queen's eyes were thoughtful as she watched a small hologram of the arena. Tom moved calmly, carefully, with respect for the world around him. She had seen many warriors before, brave and strong, but none like this human. One advisor spoke first, his voice serious. "Your Majesty, this human is unusual. He fights differently from the others. He uses his mind and heart more than his weapons. Is that what we need to face the coming threat?" The queen looked at him and smiled softly. "Strength comes in many forms. Muscle and weapon are not the only answers. Tom's spirit shows a new kind of power, one that may unite us all." Another advisor frowned. "But he is only one human. Our enemies are fierce and powerful. Can he really lead us?" The queen's gaze grew sharp. "Leadership is not just about strength. It is about courage, wisdom, and hope. I see those qualities in him." Outside the palace, the stars shone brightly over Zelara. The queen rose from her throne and moved to a balcony. She looked up at the sky and thought of the long history of her people, of battles fought and victories won. But now, something different was needed. The dark threat coming to Zelara was unlike anything before. It was not just a fight of weapons, but a test of heart and will. In the arena, Tom rested after the trial of the elements. He was tired but happy. Lena came to sit beside him. "The queen watches you closely," she said softly. "She thinks you might be more than just a warrior." Tom smiled. "I hope so. I want to help, not just fight." Lena nodded. "Many here don't understand you yet, but they will, soon." Tom looked at the stars and whispered, "I will do my best." The next day, the arena was filled again for a new challenge. This time, the test was one of wisdom and leadership. The warriors would face difficult decisions that could change the future of Zelara. Tom listened carefully as the rules were explained. The queen's voice echoed through the arena. True strength comes not only from power, but from the choices we make. Today, you will show us who can lead with heart and mind. The challenge began with the simulation of a crisis. A part of Zalara's forest was burning, and the warriors had to decide how to save as many lives as possible, both of the creatures living there and the people depending on the forest. The other warriors quickly chose to send their soldiers to fight the fire directly, using advanced technology to try to stop the flames. Tom watched carefully. He stepped forward and suggested a different plan. We should protect the animals and plants first. They keep the forest healthy. If we save them, the forest can heal faster. Some aliens frowned. That sounds slow and weak, one said. But Tom explained, if we only fight the fire, we might lose what makes the forest strong. Protecting the life inside is the true way to win. The simulation showed Tom's plan working. The forest began to recover, and more creatures were saved. The other warriors looked surprised but nodded in respect. The alien queen smiled from her throne. This is the wisdom of a true leader, she said. Next, the warriors faced a problem of trust. Two clans were in conflict over a rare resource needed to survive. The warriors had to find a way to bring peace between the clans. Most chose to fight or threaten, but Tom chose to listen and talk. He met the leaders of both clans and found that their fears were based on misunderstandings and old anger. Tom suggested a shared plan where both clans could use the resource without harm. It was not easy, but slowly the clans agreed. The crowd in the arena saw the warriors' success and began to cheer for Tom. His leadership was different, peaceful, kind, and fair. The alien queen's eyes shone bright. Tom is teaching us new ways to be strong, she said. As the day ended, Tom felt tired but hopeful. He was not only fighting for himself, but for a chance to change the future. For all beings in the galaxy, back in her chambers, the alien queen stood before a large window, looking out at the stars. She whispered to herself, I choose him. He is the one. The air on Zalara had changed. The violet skies seemed darker, and the stars twinkled with a strange urgency. News had spread that the dark threat, the danger the alien queen warned about, was growing closer. Tom stood beside Lena near the edge of the city, looking out toward the horizon. The forests and mountains were beautiful, but seemed quieter now, as if waiting for something to happen. Lena's voice was soft but serious. The enemy comes from beyond our known space. They are strong and ruthless. Many fear what they bring. Tom nodded. He had felt the weight of this journey growing heavier with every passing day. He had trained, learned, and proved himself. But now, it was time to face the real test, the battle to protect Zalara and its people. That evening, the alien queen called all the warriors to the palace. The grand hall was filled with light and power. The queen's silver skin shimmered as she spoke. The dark threat is real, she said. A fleet of ships, controlled by a mysterious force, approaches our galaxy. Their technology is advanced, and their intentions are unknown but dangerous. A large hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing many dark ships moving swiftly through space. The warriors gasped at the sight. Tom stepped forward. What do we know about them? He asked. The queen's eyes were steady. Very little. They have not tried to communicate. Their ships destroy everything in their path. One warrior spoke, voice trembling. How can we fight them? Their power is greater than ours. The queen raised her hand. We will not fight with power alone. We will fight with heart, courage, and unity. Tom has shown us a new way, a way that can bring victory. Tom felt a mix of fear and hope. The time to prove himself had come. The next day, the warriors gathered in the arena for a final training session. The queen spoke to them all. You will face many challenges in battle, but remember what you have learned. Strength is not only muscle, it is kindness, wisdom, and courage. Tom trained hard. Working with Lena and other warriors, they practiced fighting together, learning to move as one. At night, Tom stood alone on a balcony, looking at the stars. He thought of Earth, his home far away. He He missed his family, but knew he was where he needed to be. Suddenly, a messenger arrived with urgent news. Enemy ships detected near Zalara's outer space. The warriors rushed to prepare. Tom felt his heart pound but kept his calm. The battle began. Dark ships appeared in the skies above Zalara, firing powerful energy beams. The alien warriors fought bravely, using their weapons and skills to defend their planet. Tom stayed close to Lena and others, using what he had learned. He helped guide the warriors, finding ways to protect the cities and forests without unnecessary destruction. During a fierce attack, a group of enemy ships landed soldiers on Zalara's surface. They moved quickly, destroying everything in their path. Tom led a team to stop them. Instead of fighting with violence, he used his calm voice and actions to confuse the enemy. His team worked together to capture the soldiers without harm. The alien queen watched from her throne, her eyes filled with pride. Tom's bravery and wisdom were helping to turn the tide. As the battle continued, Tom discovered something important. The enemy was not a single force, but controlled by a powerful machine of dark intelligence that used fear to control its armies. Tom shared this with the queen. If we can reach that intelligence and show it kindness or understanding, maybe we can stop the war without more fighting. The queen nodded slowly. It is a risk, but it may be our only chance. Tom prepared to face the dark intelligence. With Lena and a small group of warriors, he traveled to the enemy's command ship. Inside the dark ship, the halls were cold and silent. The machine controlling the enemy waited in a glowing chamber. Tom spoke softly. We do not want to fight. We want peace. For a moment, the machine was still. Then, its voice echoed in the chamber, cold but curious. Why do you show kindness? It asked. Tom smiled. Because kindness is strength. It can change even the darkest heart. The machine paused and then began to shut down its weapons. Outside, the battle stopped. The enemy ships retreated. Back on Zalara, the alien queen declared. Tom has shown us that true strength is in heart and courage. He is the champion we need. The crowd cheered. Tom stood proud but humble. He knew the journey was not over, but for now, hope had returned to the galaxy. The victory over the dark intelligence was celebrated across Zalara and the neighboring worlds. But Tom knew that peace was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and many planets still lived in fear of future threats. In the Grand Palace, the alien queen held a meeting with Tom and the leaders of many planets. The room was filled with colors, voices, and hope. We cannot return to the way things were, the queen said firmly. We must build a future together, united and strong. Tom nodded. The dark threat showed us how divided we are, but it also showed us that kindness and understanding can change everything. Leaders from different worlds shared their stories about wars, lost friends, and the desire for peace. Tom listened carefully and spoke with honesty. Every planet has its own strengths, he said. If we come together, we can protect each other and grow stronger as one. The queen smiled warmly. Then let us create the galactic unity, a bond between all worlds for peace, knowledge, and defense. The leaders agreed, and a new council was formed. Tom was chosen as a special ambassador, not just because he was a warrior, but because he had shown true leadership. Over the next weeks, Tom traveled between planets. He met many beings, some tall and strong, some small and wise. He shared ideas and listened to hopes and fears. One day, on the planet Vesher, Tom stood before a large crowd. He spoke simply but powerfully. Unity does not mean losing who we are, he said. It means respecting each other and working together for a better future. The crowd cheered, and Tom felt a warm glow in his heart. Back on Zalara, the alien queen prepared a grand celebration. She declared a day to honor unity and courage, a day that would be remembered for generations. The day arrived with music, dance, and stories from many worlds. Tom played his flute, its gentle notes weaving through the joyful sounds. As the stars shone above, the queen stood beside Tom. You have changed us all, she said softly. Tom smiled. We changed each other. But even in this moment of joy, Tom knew the work was not done. The galaxy was full of mystery and challenge, but with unity, hope, and courage, he believed they could face whatever came next together.